So this is supposed to be like an investigator style map of the alleged crimes and patterns in my life, but I want to get at the links here first of the lines connecting the incidents that I'm going to expose here, how one action implies to support the other. First is there's repeated collapses, where identical symptoms of patterns strongly suggests of a persistent toxic exposure. Allegedly arsenic, but I know far well what it is. And that it is arsenic, along with whatever else that they had enhanced for their proxy warfare against me. Secondly is the presence of proxy people inside of my love life, where my brother's opposition to my having an authentic relationship at all indicated for intentional sabotage of my love life, and proxy and installing these proxies might have been a tool to isolate me and control me and continue to poison me. Third is the medical dismissals, is the lack of institutional help suggests either just their straight up negligence or active protection of the perpetrators. It creates a documentary of gaps, but also increases the need for independent testing and records, where instead of being allowed to get to these testing and records based on the financial and emotional sabotage, it's also gaslit or gaslighting me in that way, because it's particularly leaving me in so much overgrown crime in my life happening to me that it's to create the pressure points in order to indemnify the criminal and get away with taking me as the victim and only leaving me broken without the availability of resources needed for exposing the crimes as they've been taken against me. And so leading a person into the fourth thing here is tickets and ongoing financial sabotage is to lead me into a position of having not only like my home under threat of being taken away, but having no available time left to establish creating my home life. On top of it, sabotaging my ability to work is to take away my car, take away my ability to keep up on bills, which is taking away my license, which then leaves me with tickets, which then leaves me in complete identity erasure and theft, if you ask me, completely stripping me of my livelihood. So these pressure points that are the compounds of the previous economic sabotage, it could be used as the opportunistic leverage that they need, used by these perpetrators or by corrupt systems in order to push further instability, which it does do. And it has always done in my life. So the fifth part is the retaliation after the disclosures and after my reaching back for my energy and suggesting to Jesse and these people, get the fuck away from me. You have no motherfucking right to my life. You have no right at all. My life is mine. It does not belong to you. And I am not your fucking property. Get away from me. This indicates motive to silence me, to discourage my ability of reporting, and it's consistent with not only the trafficking of me, but coercive control dynamics of hacking me, stealing away my resources of online accounts, social media, phones even, my phone number, my email itself, and multiple avenues where I've been hacked upon reaching disclosure about Danny Heinrich being my kidnapper, because that's who I saw on the screen as the same person that tried to kidnap me 3 times by the age of 11 or whatever. And the fact that Jacob Wetterling, who was found dead in Arlington, Minnesota, and me living like legitimately a half hour away from both the place that Danny Heinrich was and from where Jacob Wetterling was found dead, along the patterns of my reaching to find that there was a man who was suggesting for the longest time online that Jacob Wetterling could be alive and to get him out alive, and he's in this house and blah blah blah, and in the exact house, the blue house that Danny Heinrich lived in, suggests to me that there's culpable corruption at play in order to protect the criminals and allow for them to create the harm that they're creating to the victims. Next is the 6th thing here, which is long-standing patterns across decades, suggesting there's organized and sustained campaigns rather than just simply isolated events or isolated acts against me. That also motivates for plausible explanations to fit the pattern exactly to how I'm reporting it. Control to keep me dependent and isolated. Financial exploitation blocking me of my livelihood to extract value into my own life or exert any leverage against their control manipulation tactics. Reputation destruction and ensuring others dismiss my claims to maintain the perpetrators' freedom while my livelihood gets completely taken. And then the possessive envy or jealousy or familial control, where my brother's motive to prevent authentic attachments to me was aided to cover up and avoid my availability of reaching discovery, i.e. the poisoning did a number there, and the institutional capture protected, where perpetrators are trying to protect themselves from being exposed. So, I am the victim of a long-term poisoning. Manipulations and trafficking of my information, my love life, was to be used as something that they obtained to control my life, where upon finding out I was personally retaliated against, attempted to murder me enough times to clearly see through the efforts made and even reach why they felt the need to take my life. If I reach any real investigative work out here or any real representation out here, they would get what they deserve, and I believe it would look like multiple life sentences back to back to be served with no way of parole. So it suggests that their fear to retaliate and perform further crimes, and with the quickness to silence me for good in their fashion as to save their own fucked up faces from their fuckery, and siding and having others even be able to suggestively side with me, is the fact out here that I'm telling the truth. I have a very important reason to speak out against the heavy crimes I am reporting in my online work. The fact is that Jesse Lee is one sick motherfucker. He corroborated with others, including my very own brothers, who facilitated the crimes of poisoning me from a very young age. Gaslighting me and creating this psychological warfare over my life is he and them blocking me from establishing any authentic engagement of relationships or connections in order to hack me and make me as well to look as unstable as possible, when without these proxy relationships and events in my life, I think that any listener, any onlooker can see that I would probably be just fine. I'm holding tight to my resolve, and I've been holding tight to my resolve since I was a little kid. So it's not like I'm going to give up on the Lord and my faith. But the fact of the matter is that they enabled these proxy relationships in a way of my availability to have any kind of organic go at a love life or any relationships, to have this control over my life, let alone my love for them or love for any other, in order to use these relationships to enhance the psychological warfare and torture campaigns to smear my name and insert fake love by proxy, as well to keep me poisoned and in a state of mind that was just easier to control on every avenue, and create the very decisive actions taken to overrule my life, where I was after a love. I was after a true love. I wanted to establish for true love and a family of my own, and not be manipulated into a manufactured life at all, including my own love for them and my own love for Jesse himself as a friend. But realizing these things is me realizing too that it's true that he's one sick individual, along with my brothers, to even coordinate attacks to facilitate scenes to be poisoned up to indemnify crimes. Heavy crimes. They're positioning me to enhance that psychological torture to take over all areas of my love life, not to mention all the other areas of my life as well. To be used as something to manipulate, and to hopefully get me into a suicidality, or at least as to what I believe full well that these efforts were done to create. They would have loved for me to just go and take my own life, is what I mean by that. My own brother never wanted me alive. Many scenes where he's suggested that the family should have ended at him, like I should have never been born. And he's also said to me that I'm going to make you wish that you were never born. On top of many other scenes where the fighting and the arguing and just the really dark heart that he had towards me never changed. And so, with those things never changing, and for many years looking for help and actually going to the same people that were perpetrating the crimes, suggesting that I need therapy, and then therapy suggesting I needed family counseling, and then them not wanting to go, and them not wanting to be a part of my mental health at all. Then upon reaching discovery of these things, getting away from the people that were set up by proxy to hurt me in the worst ways, also suggests to me their involvement, and is why I'm out here speaking out, because there's no me going to them and saying, hey, can we talk about this? Because there was no talking about it. Let alone to have a life outside of the poisoning from the very beginning stages of my life, when I deserved as a young child to be able to develop on my own in a natural progression in life. I wasn't allowed to. Both of my brothers facilitated to manipulate me, to love bomb me in scenes, and enjoy, rather, their ability to control my life in this way, to silence me and dismiss my wanting to simply move differently in my life than to be in the scenes as a kid, in diapers, falling to my butt to open that door, get out of that car seat, and open that door to see the raping that my father did, and the very constructs of abuse that I and another sibling received. My brothers co-crafted events in my life to look from the outside as though there was nothing else to be seen for me or from me for these things to happen for myself, and it wasn't rather and it wasn't any and as though it wasn't anything, rather it was a calculated poisoning that they had been getting away with, or they were. It was just to be made and calculated in their actions and attempts to make these things that I'm coming out with right now look as though I was just doing this to myself. You see? And it wasn't the calculated poisoning that they had gotten away with. is what I meant to say. And it made me very easy to maneuver, to manipulate, as though I was just a pawn in this torture campaign to manipulate me and manipulate others from having love for me at all. They not only blocked authenticity in my relationships, but it would as well hang out with the same people that they would set out to hurt me or would hurt me. Meaning, to make me out to be as somebody I wasn't. To make me out to look like that of a mental health thing all alone by itself. But it was in fact a poisoning of me. These people created fake ties and inserted proxy friends, proxy lovers, or just got in the way of any other ability of mine to establish any other authentic relationship in my life. So if it was an authentic relationship, they would do things like hurt that person's feelings so bad that they would just be like, dude, your situation's fucked. I'm sorry you're in this situation, but I can't handle this. Bye. See ya. You know, they then as well used my love life in proxies to enhance their warfare strategies through that fake-made romantic partners to use for their affairs, meaning to cause me to explode in a very manic state of mind. As I imagine anyone who loves another for real wouldn't feel too good about any affair at all happening, but especially an affair that was meant to hurt them in the worst ways as possible, as it did me. It all created me to feel so depressed and useless and worthless in my pursuit for any real honorable love, a love life at all. Either way, it hurts like hell to feel that the very people that you were supposed to count on implicitly to support you were the same people that could cause such deep, insurmountable pain in me, that at the time, without knowing why, as I was as well poisoned up throughout all of these events, like these affairs did to me, where I did start thinking of taking my own life. But I didn't. And the reason I didn't is because I knew that that too was not me, along with the early childhood abuse that I was drawn into by the poisons. So I knew it wasn't me, and I knew it wasn't the originality in why I was made a human being at all. But they stooped really low. And I think because that they stooped really low, I feel the idea here is to not allow me, their younger brother, to be able to get away from stooping just as low, if not throwing me in a gauntlet to make me stoop lower. So they gaslighted me in all of my experiences they could to control me, where the ones that were not within their control allowed me to see the breadcrumbs of a crime that they wanted me in. Next, we have the corporate corruption. As the helpers within the systems of people who are supposed to be supporters, an unbiased type of advocate, were both counterproductive to my legal claims and my medical claims, and even law enforcement themselves, who seemingly are protecting the criminals and their crimes against me, and not me at all. Failing to act on so many reports as if I'm just supposed to be left as well within a system that was just well designed to protect me, is now all of a sudden well designed to protect the criminals and not the victim. And now using those hurts that have been caused, legitimately the hurts that they know are already there, they're just using in the same thing, in the same decree of the system, they're just using what they already know and leaving alone in the hurt without doing anything, without being any kind of supporter, without being that unbiased advocate that they're supposed to be, in order to use those crimes to hurt me further within the crimes. So next is the methods and the modus operandi on how the harm was done to me as reported. First, it's the chronic poisoning and the arsenic and whatever it was that was used. But I know what it was. As something, not nothing. It wasn't anxiety or mental health crises, rather a substance used to abuse me with and make that abuse as I was being lost into the framework that they needed me to be made into or made out to be any other thing that they could in order to prevent disclosure and my seeing it for what it was, to be able to expose it or to gain respect from others in the world to see that what I was exposing, I not only had the right to expose, but also saw it as true. But the people listening also see it as true for themselves, meaning that through the exposure, through the many videos I've been making, through many lyrical values, through many of my speeches and speaking out, that somebody with influence and power within the world can say to themselves, no, they can disagree with those rather wanting to prevent me from disclosure and discovery and help and advocacy, where they can see to it themselves to suggest, no dude, or no ma'am, this is really happening to him. He's not crazy. Which I know for myself that I'm not. I had reoccurrences of physical collapse that made me cry just to write it down. I had severe symptoms, systematic symptoms of a poisoning, regardless of what it was to be discovered. I know what it was. I know what I believed it to be. I experienced severe mental lapses and complete memory loss, where upon calling back my energy and autonomy, I can see it from myself, all of the scenes for what they were, next to verbatim as to what I'm saying happened to me. I had cognitive impairment in ways across my whole life, meaning from early childhood through into my adulthood, up until calling back my energy and my autonomy. It took months, and I mean months on end, to seriously get away from Jesse Lee and Aurelia. As if that's not a sick thing to disclose about, as people whom I personally love dearly in my life wanted to perform in this fashion over my love life and for their own fuckery and love affairs. I'm sorry, but it's a sick fucking crime, G. Symptoms I've been describing have been extreme fatigue, a created but ignored heart feeling like palpitations, a created diabetes as arsenic creates diabetes. And all of these symptoms is throughout all of my life, creating a very calculated arsenic abuse, or created from a very cold and calculated arsenic abuse. The symptoms of nerve pain, even carpal tunnel, can be suggested to a covert arsenic poisoning. A vision that's being blurred or rather disoriented, along with distorted, to the feeling of my eyeballs themselves suffocating to the cellular level, which can also be suggested to a very covert arsenic poisoning. Or a chemical attack of some kind. I think cyanide does that same type of thing or feeling right on the second, basically. Heart pain and irregularities, along with diverticulitis, which can also be attributed to a covert abuse, let alone a covert arsenic abuse. Skin changes, rashes, clammy suddenly or excess sweating along with blisters and warts, which can as well be caused by an arsenic poisoning. The spraying of my neck, where it was the first cyanide attack I had, the whole back of my head was red for like a month. And along with that, the police have a call for me calling them, and I think that they could very well hear that I was dealing with the crime. Not, oh, do you need do you need something else? Can we gear this to being anything other than what you're suggesting it is? So I'm sorry, but these changes within my life are clearly signs of me dealing with the covert warfare. The cognitive clearing or the memory wipes I've had suggest to a covert arsenic abuse. I had memory gaps, memory lapses, sudden collapse, and after drinking or eating something that was either poisoned, positioned for me to eat or drink, given to me, or directly confronted at times with Jesse Lee suggestively walking into my apartment in Elk River to drop something in my drink and force it to my mouth to drink it, suggesting to me how much he absolutely did not care about me at all, ever. Also suggests to me what a sick motherfucking fuck he is. Not to mention, months on end, get away from me, leave me be, and him not leaving me be. To even my thinking that I threw it away, but now that I think back, I think I legitimately was depressed enough to drink it. And moments later, him telling me, well, you're not going to remember this in a little bit anyway. With where I didn't. And now I do, just like I remember all of the other times that I've been poisoned and the consecutive, like the sunlight coming back into my body and the oxygen coming back into my body to them coming around, getting something into my body and me dropping off. It's the constant that happening over and over in my life from childhood to like, oh, I'm starting to feel a little better. Oh, but get him some poisoning. Oh, I'm starting to feel, get him poisoned. I'm starting to feel a little bit better. Get him poisoned. Over and over in my life. So within these frames of positions, being the exact feelings that I've experienced as a child to my teenage years and into adulthood of this cold and calculated arsenic abuse, even if they didn't like me, even if they had no love for me or wanted me to be loved, it gives them no right to be performing murder in the first degree over my life. They could have left me be. They could have not poisoned me. And regardless of how worthless I feel now, as though I feel like completely useless in my love life now. I feel completely useless in my life altogether. Like, I could be an amazing drummer, an artist, a photographer, or an amazing friend. But even if I couldn't ever find love, I could just have been left alone. These people never could even just do that and leave me alone. Not even so much as telling them to leave me alone for months on end, adding into the fact that Jesse still shows up in my Zoom call courts as well to prove to me what an opportunistic, sick fucking prick he really is. Next is the proxy relationships themselves and the manufactured love life for greater harm to be issued to me. As often as could be, they wanted to manufacture relationships, romantic partners, intentionally to stage more control in my life, either by my own brothers or Jesse Lee, or them both to work in concert to isolate me. Either way, it was to continue a poisoning of me where they couldn't continue to poison me and prevent me from as well establishing my own heart's desire for a true and authentic engagement with a loving partner. The use of these proxy ties was to poison me and keep me poisoned. They wanted to position me further with identity theft, hacking me, or to hurt me physiologically in order to cause a scene like suggested, to create and manufacture a suicidality in me. So they would gaslight me, poison me, homeless, poison me in my apartments, poison me anywhere they could, really, and even gaslighting me while poisoning me, setting me up into a home I wasn't even supposed to make it to because of the poisonings before even getting here, with a mortgage payment that was as well to be meant to discard me, control my jobs, preventing me from keeping up on bills, used as a humiliation site of this ritual abuse to discredit me, alienate me, isolate me from establishing any real connections whatsoever. Even my own boss. Calling my workplaces, lying on my name, positioning me or anything else that they could in order to cause me to lose jobs or lose respect of coworkers or anything else that they could do under the radar, because in their own availability of this way was to create the decor all over my life. But I know I'd be fine if it wasn't for these enhanced warfare experiences I was getting. I would probably be still working at Strong or still working somewhere. And no matter what I do, no matter what it wasn't only that I was supposed to not be able to see it for exactly what it was, but out of weaponizing my availability of forgiveness, it was to take that forgiveness for granted, never as grace. That I was never supposed to ever be able to expose them, let alone see the crime, or be able to know the difference as to whether or not something was being done to me at all, because arsenic, or whatever poison it was, made it super easy for them to level me out of myself and clean me out as if there was nothing left to be seen for Matt, but to be a person driven crazy by himself, which was the lie that they needed in order to indemnify their crimes. Not to mention me just being led into the final collapse that was suggestively right here in my house, coming through the door and falling down to the ground. Like, what in the fuck just happened to me, dude? To me, calling my own brother that next morning and knowing for myself that his reaction to my even available to call him was, oh my god, you mean to tell me this fucking kid's still alive? It was to be made to look as though everything was just done on my own in order to kill me, murder me, and in the first degree of a premeditated murder. Next is the gaslighting and psychological control, not to mention the identity theft, but repeated denial, manipulations, and framing to even reframe over and over the events in my life to make me doubt my own memories, to gaslight me really hard, as I worked really hard to simply obtain the normal use of my own mind. Once I was finally able to, by calling back my energy and calling back my autonomy, as someone might imagine that they would want to do from very calculated arsenic poisoning, for crying out loud. But they can't even see that. Like, normal people, I don't even think can understand that. So unless they're in it themselves, and they find themselves in something like that, where you have to get away from these people, and if you don't get away from these people, you're going to end up dead, and you'll probably end up dead anyway. It really sucks, because it's like, well, fuck, I've been dead to my mind this entire time, and now that I finally have my mind back, and I can actually reason through these things that are happening to me covertly, I can't even suggest to fucking these fuck-for-all people out here that what the fuck has been happening to me? Like, are you fucking kidding me right now? And that's the way it is, too. Like, the medical community isn't allowing me to suggestively say what's happening to me and what's been happening to me since I was a kid. You're talking about 40 fucking years of me reaching for discovery through the covert abuse that has been, not allowing me to fucking put my own words in my mouth. And now that I'm able to finally put my words in my mouth by calling back my autonomy from these fucking Freemasonry fuck shows or occultists design fucking pieces of gutter trash, you mean to tell me that you're not going to even see that I have the reason to know what this is? It's, in other words, like, go fuck yourself. Seriously, you're working in the fucking satanic ritual abuse and you're working on side of this fucking evil, go fuck yourself. The Lord lets me know verbatim in my stomach through prayer for the Lord's discernment to be added to my belly in Jesus Christ's holy precious name, that the Lord suggests to me in that feeling that these people can go ahead and think that they can erase Christians. It says to me, do you know what will happen to these people's hearts when there's not one single person praying over their enemies? They'll all be looking at each other like their hearts fucking going, and they're falling to the ground. And they're going to be like, oh, we can get rid of Christians, and we can get rid of all these people that mean so well with us, that we could just go ahead and indemnify crimes and fucking kill them all. Yeah, they're not going to feel too well. Enjoy your bath in a lake of fire, bitches. No offense, if you don't want to do any kind of heart work or your prayer life or repent or do anything good in the world, and you actually get off on this shit, enjoy the lake of fire. I'm not going to take away God's judgment, but that's in the Word. So you can go ahead and reframe it however you want to. But as far as I'm concerned, I've worked so hard just to simply be able to obtain the use of my mind and get away from these people, as one might only be able to imagine that of a calculated abuse, of an arsenic abuse. So when you're set up into doubting your own reality, in turn, it enhances dependence and returning to the abusers in a very Stockholm syndrome type of pattern in your life, where you have a cognitive dissonance. You're wanting to protect the abuser based on the patterns in your life of always having protected the abuser. This unallows you to the memories required to see beyond the patterns of abuse. Next is the institutions involved in the corruption and gatekeeping from true advocacy, both medical and legal, refuse you of social services, of systems refusing you of your truth, to fail you before ever being able to get out from under, despite your whole ability to say exactly what's at play now, and actually utilize your vocabulary and get the covert warfare you've been experiencing to articulate it into words. They didn't want that. They didn't want you to call back your energy and get away from them at all, because they want you dead. So, if you want to side with the perpetrators by ignoring these reports and ignoring my findings, ignore the medical testing and even the time that it would require to allow more time to pass so that this medical testing would prove otherwise, or the tests would be no good. It's initializing a way to discredit you and isolate you even further, to suggest that it's all mental health, even when they have absolutely zero testing to show for depression. They have absolutely zero testing to show for anxiety or any other mental health diagnoses that they want to give a person. It's also that they can twist and turn and use their turn of words to twist your findings up to make it out to seem like anything other than what it is. Meanwhile, they do have tests to perform you to help reach discovery of an arsenic. They just don't care to. They do have tests to take your blood and find what's in it. They just don't care to. They do have tests even to perform what your mineral deficiency is, so that they can tell you, in normal circumstances without an arsenic poisoning, that you need to eat more cucumber or spinach, or you need to get rosemary in your diet twice a week, or whatever it is. But they have no considerable efforts of actually caring for humanity in health care. It's all just about sick care. So while they have these tests that could actually that they could actually perform you to help reach discovery, they, knowing that you are probably experiencing identity theft, like, and experiencing the financial sabotage, and it's going to be exactly verbatim hard for you to get to the appointments. The appointments that you do make can be pushed back further so that the victim is in a loss and in a void of discovery at all. Not to as well mention that the fact of discrediting your voice in the first place when dealing with murder attempts on your life only further gaslights you into that reality, where they should know that you're being left in extreme pain, both physically and mentally, while emotionally being drawn thin. So they gatekeep you from establishing resources in order to get to the rock solid of the truth, and while preventing access to mechanisms of justice or reaching the ability for public exposure, in which case I should have been allowed that public exposure or the access to the mechanisms in order to determine what's in my body a long fucking time ago. Not to mention that we're told in school that we have a free press. If anything's happening to you, you can reach out to a news station or a journalist or somebody, and they're going to help you. They're going to be an unbiased advocate for you. Well, they lied, and in turn, it turns you towards a forwarded exposure to be able to reach access at all, and they're initially saying, access denied, by ignoring you by, many avenues of what, I don't know, probably well over 1,000 letters in different areas and multiple letters sent in other areas. And I mean, when I was in the homeless shelter, it was like every day that I could go downstairs and be like, send, resend, open this one, send it here, send it to 5 new places, send it to 11, 9, 10 in a channel I don't know, a journalist here, a journalist there, someone with a doctorate's degree here, and whatever. And not one fucking place can answer you back. Not one. Literally. Not even one person. Which means you don't actually have rights to expose corruption, if you ask me. Nor do you have a legit education within the educational system that implies that you have a free press. You don't. And it's not like they will actually work to allow you to a free press, because the agenda-driven Satanists, who are now the statists, are working in a free range of these cafe cage bitches as the monsters of men that they are inside of your life, that will only hack your online resources as well, thus creating an economic sabotage as well as stripping you of your livelihood and leaving you into the actions that will prevent you from being able to work your own life at all, keeping you unstable to work and establish a steady or successful income. Goals are to engage in a hidden warfare over your ability to establish any stable housing, stable resources, and then you're met with these bureaucratic obstacles in order to enhance the already ridiculous harassment of you. Your livelihood goes belly out, and when they get away when they get away with these crimes, and when you finally get away from the perpetrators who are right there in the scenes as your supposed quote unquote friends and quote unquote proxy lovers, finally you have to decide. You have no choice left but to speak out against them, as they've left you with no options, leaving you no option of family counseling, of family time, resources, anything. So unless you're just gonna go into the scene of the crime as, oh, I'm just gonna trust whatever water and coffee and food they bring me, and I'm gonna just gobble it up and be like, oh, hi, flop. Unless you want to allow them to kill you, basically. You're going to have to move different. And well, when you start to realize that you got to move different, that's when their retaliation game comes into full range. They'll be met with retaliation like none other, where the enemy is creating elements of coercion in amounts that legitimately amount to being trafficked, sustained in that exploited place, in the exploitation that they're creating over your life to keep you, as I've suggested in my lyrics, in a black box, in a pitch black box, in a mind frame that's much like 86,000 graveyards, days and days and days of graveyards, through your mind's value, because of the ways that they've kept you poisoned, or kept, in my situation at least, all to leave me to trust them to bring. Here you go, Barty. You want to drink this coffee? Or you want to drink this tea? It'll make you feel better. Oh, gee, thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Oh, that's a good coffee, because the king of kings of poisoning, arsenic, is a tasteless and odorless poison, which is why they call it the king of kings of poisoning. And next thing you know, you're done. The sad fact of the matter is that we have a system right now that's not even allowing me to expose these crimes, report these crimes, get any unbiased help out here, reach for any kind of charitable endeavor action, reach for any church action, reach for any support, leaving me without the resources, suggesting to me that someone working within, I don't even want to say it, because I for a fact actually like people that are even hurtful, hoping that they're not going to be so hurtful. But okay, I'm just going to say it. The person that was dealing with my case, as far as being in Health and Human Services, just, what the fuck, G? Why you gotta be so rude to me? Like, what the fuck? I didn't do shit to you. And you're just not taking anything as I'm saying verbatim. Same thing with the shit camp cops. In a Freemasonry shit show design, I'm sure there's somebody out there that cares, that's legitimately thinking to themselves, oh my god, I can't even care about this. Otherwise, it's going to be my life. Oh, great. What help do we have if we can't rely on the people's hearts that actually do care a little bit? Can you, if you care this much, can you care this much? So that the people that care this much can maybe care this much? And then the people that care this much can start to care this much? You know, like, it just bothers me so bad. It's like the opposite. It's like, oh, you care this much. Well, we're just going to come and make sure you care just a little bit less. Oh, you care that much, huh? Well, we care this much, so we're going to come and squint you to care that much. Oh, well, we actually don't want you to care at all. And if you do care just a smidgen now. If you just care just a tiny fucking bit. Smash goes your life. Boom, crash. Blow up your fucking care. I'm sorry, but and this is the way I think that it actually is out here, with the supposed care that's in our justice system, that's in our police force, that's in our fucking medical industry. And if you guys don't want to care, get the fuck out of your fucking jobs. Leave. And if you can't do that, and you can't leave because you're fucking heartless and fucking spineless and soulless. Fuck you. Literally. Fuck you. You have a job that's supposed to be caring. You take an oath to protect people from all enemies, foreign and domestic. These are foreign enemies right inside of the domestics, right here in America. And you want to be a part of a shit camp design? Yeah, fuck you. You want to be a part of a satanic elite? Yeah, fuck you. You want to be like Tim Walz, getting a plaque inside of a building that's supposed to be protecting people from these crimes, suggesting that, oh, thank you for being so good with your satanic, and more satanic stuff needs to happen inside of the world. Good for you. Good for fucking you. Tim Walz, fuck you too. And they're suggesting that I don't have the availability to have an opinion about the way that these fucking Freemasons or occultists design or satanic agenda driven or just the very ugliness of Jesse Lee, who could play about his cares with his own fucking friend. I mean, how fucking sick is that? You decide for yourself. I think it's sick as fuck. I think that man is sicker than fucking sick to do what he's done to me in my life. I think that if it were Andrew Tate inside of this position, oh God. Okay, I'm done. Okay? I'm done. I don't want to be threatening somebody. But the fact of the matter is I think that it just wouldn't happen. And if it did, it would be dealt with accordingly. Like that. So I'm not supposed to have an opinion in any kind of circumstance, huh? And you don't find anything fishy about that? I'm not supposed to have a job or a love life at all. That's organically created by my own availability and performance. And you don't think there's anything fucking weird about that either? I've mentioned reports. And to no avail, nothing. But they're utilizing these reports to suggest, well, if we just leave them alone for 3-4 months, we'll just enhance the state-of-the-art war. And you don't think that there's literal, spiritual, psychological, physiological, physical, emotional, biological warfare going on out here? Okay, explain it to me then what it is. Explain it to me. I'll read your comments. Other than that, I believe that people are in a total loss as far as the state of corruption goes and how the state of corruption is at play. Because if we are not coming together to do something about these very important crimes that are happening not only to me, but happening to other people, then we're not going to have a humanity. And humanity as it is lived right now is not what I would call life and living. And if you can call this life and living while people are lost and decimated and poisoned and hurt and targeted and harassed, and these perpetrators get away with whatever fucking crimes they want to get away with, and if someone breaks into your house, they can just break into your house, and they maybe go to the precinct, and the precinct will just maybe make out with them a little bit and give them a slap on the butt and give them a $2,000 gift card and be like, see you again in 2 weeks. If you don't think that that's the way these non-governmental organizations are working, I highly suggest you recheck the facts. Definitely turn off your television and don't read fucking newspapers. You got to find your unbiased source of news media if you're going to realize anything real going on out here at all. Otherwise, you're just being programmed. You might as well just allow the government to go enter Get the chip put in your skull and allow them to go on the computer, enter, and allow you to be whatever that they need you to be. I mean, and if you're okay with that level of control, well, fuck. Burn the world. Sorry to be a little bit of a nihilist there, but let them hang every last Christian and slaughter us so that they can go, oh, we're going to be just fine with everybody once we get rid of the Christians. We're going to be fine right in here, right in my heart's plate. No, they're not. They're absolutely not. And they don't have to see it to reason with it, smell it, hear it, or figuratively taste it. What the fuck is going to happen to them? End of story. Peace.